So Elliot Hulse has a new video. It's bad. This is legitimately some of the worst advice I've ever heard any one human being give to another human being. He basically tells this guy to harass a trans woman and be awful to her, and he doesn't understand. I assume that this is going to make this guy lose his job if it gets reported to HR. I don't know.
This is going to make me, like, violently angry, isn't it?
Yeah. Daddy Sume says, I'll be back later. Elliot reminds me far too much of my father. I feel you there. See you later. Raven says, this brother seriously pisses me off, so I'm going to sign off for the night. I don't blame you. All right, let's check out Elliot.
Yo, Elliot. My question would be being an...
Oh, trigger warning, misgendering, dead naming, transphobia. If you can think a negative thing about, you know, anything triggering involving being trans, it's probably in here. Just fair warning. TubeMan says, I'm probably going to skip Eternals. They always hit me as one of those, hey, we're not the X-Men kind of groups, like the Inhumans. Yeah.
An older king, I'm 58 years young, working for corporate America, I have to deal with this cooties mandate.
He gets into the trans stuff after he talks about the cooties thing.
He's talking about the medicine. I'm not going to get the cooties jab, right? Even with the pressure put on by all. Well, that's good, right? So you know where you stand, you've drawn the line, and you said, no, there's nothing more masculine than a man who knows his boundaries and enforces them. You're not going to...
There's nothing more masculine than being an ignorant baby who says, I don't care what doctors say, you can't do that to me. Very manly.
Yeah,
Prick me,
I mean,
no matter
the
what.
Ultimate man
right?
is
And we have
someone that's
so
a
many...
snowflake bitch baby that doesn't listen to doctors and thinks, I know everything because I'm a toddler. It's mine, 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 mine. I know everything.
Powerful young and older kids
really
in this
in a
program
mood today.
that have said no, and it's causing them a lot of grief in their work. Young man, Michael, I think it is Matthew, who's a Marine, and he comes on at least every other Thursday and talks about the challenges
Blackwing Hecate says Baja is alive tonight.
he's having in the military because he believes in bodily autonomy. Right? And it's even tougher for them because I think when you're in the military, you sign your bodily autonomy over to the state.
Hey,
so he's having a
dipshit. If he's in the military, he's already been shot up with who knows how many fucking vaccines. Which is good, by the way. Vaccines are good. Something we learned 100 goddamn years ago. Ah! MH Darkbeast says, I like feisty Baja. We need her to co-host more often.
hell of a time. But I admire and I would acknowledge all men who have stood up and said no, even if it costs you your quote-unquote livelihood. Because what is a livelihood?
But I thought that men were supposed to be providers. So now you're telling them to quit their job because they're little bitch babies who don't want to get a shot? But I thought they were supposed to be providers. You don't like it when your wife works or when she works for someone that's not you. So how are they supposed to get money?
With no life, right? And what is no life? What is a life with no sovereignty? So I want to acknowledge you for that. So it doesn't sound like that's the problem.
That guy should also stop wearing a seatbelt, too. After all, what is a life without sovereignty? And I won't have these fat cats in the government telling me I need a seatbelt, okay? I don't need these carpetbaggers at the FDA telling me which lettuce might have shit in it, okay? Blackwing Hecate says, quote-unquote livelihood. Star Moss, thanks for 16 months. Is he Christian? Yes.
He goes on to say, also, I'm dealing with a co-worker who's transitioning to becoming a female.
Again, I need to warn again, this is incredibly transphobic shit. Just so you know.
I can't wait to blast the shit out of him.
Oh, Lord. Tea with Goblin says, remember, boys, men assert boundaries are masculine kings. When women do it, they're shrieking harpy feminists and unsuitable for marriage. I might have to raise the bits limit again. I'm getting so fucking many lately. Overthought says, quit your jobs, lose your homes, so I can actually buy one. Zealous says, imagine standing over Elliot as he's coming in and out of consciousness from COVID, and you whisper in his ear as he wheezes for sweet oxygen. This shit ain't masculine. Narnindia Owl says, new flavor of Baja Blast just dropped and I'm digging it. Nick says, me too, Baja, in Roblox.
So a man who's becoming a female, and he says, this bothers the hell out of me. I love the guy, and yes, he's still a guy to me. As in Arnold's movie Kindergarten Cop, he says, boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. Right? It's almost too basic. The Marxists, they have to destroy everything. And
you know
Marxists?
You know what Marx wrote? He wrote, fuck Kindergarten Cop.
Okay.
Marx.
Okay. So, let me get this straight.
Hydrate.
Mr. Hulse thinks that bodily autonomy is perfect and that you should quit your fucking job because they want you to get a vaccine. So he thinks that people should have control, full control over their bodies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then a woman wants to transition and present how she feels comfortable, have her body how she feels comfortable, and express herself how she feels comfortable. Is that not the same thing as having full autonomous control of your body?
No, because he thinks trans is gross.
Yeah, well, just because you saw a trans woman on the cover of Sports Illustrated one time and you freaked out because she was attractive, just like many other women, there are lots of women that are attractive. I'm attracted to women. I'm a bisexual who leans towards women. Hence this lovely lady. You're so mad that you saw that now you're like, meh. Trans women.
Blackwing Hecate says, communist trans cat girls rise up. No gods, no masters, no squirt bottles.
so we see the Marxist, and we see Satan through the Marxist doing all they can to pervert even the most basic of human traditions, which is boys have penis, girls have vagina, right?
And so you admit that it is a human tradition. It is societally created. And also, Elliot, let me pose a scenario for you. You're a Christian. You think that souls exist, I'd assume. Are you gonna take a bite?
I'm just fucking around.
Oh. She's gently using my chopsticks. So you think souls exist. What about, someone knows on the inside who they are? What if they think that their soul is female and their body just isn't? I know
he would just say that doesn't happen.
I know that he would say that. But you guys are the ones that believe in souls. You think that there is something completely separate from the body.
Yeah.
And that when you die, you shed this bodily prison. Fuck off, dude. How did you know that you were a man? It's not because someone told you that you had a penis.
Tucker White says, don't you know, Hannah, communism is when girl have pee-pee. Karl Marx said it in chapter 666 of the Manifesto. Maps and Mimics, thanks for 10 months, says our stream baby, Gigantor the Eternal, is already 2 stories tall. Should I be concerned? No. Once he hits, 6 stories, call someone. Blackwing Hecate says, I'm a girl, I have a penis, it's all about the mouthfeel, bucko.
But, we're swimming in this shit, and a lot of us are affected. So anyway, he says, it bothers the crap out of me that I have to call him Jenny instead of Jeremy. He says, I love the guy as a brother and is always there for me when I need him. To me, will never be a sister. This is amazing.
Okay. You cannot love someone if you do not respect them. When someone transitions, it very clearly shows them exactly who loves them. You've experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that just don't respect you. Like Hannah's dad, Hannah's mom. they didn't respect her. And even though, oh, this dude is saying, oh, I love her. You don't. No. You're saying...
He loves the idea of the person he thought he knew more so than the actual person. Otherwise, he would accept her for who she actually is.
Yeah. And the thing is, this person isn't changing. They transition. Their outward appearance is going to change. They're going to be more comfortable. They're going to be more happy. Like, watching Hannah grow since she's been transitioning, you know, even since before that we were dating and engaged and everything, like, just watching her become more comfortable with who she is, that's the best. And that's the whole point. If you love someone, you want them to be the happiest, the best version of themselves that they could possibly be. And I couldn't imagine not seeing Hannah as who she is. Like, not getting to see you be this happy and be this confident in yourself and be this, you know, this version of you. Like, that's love.
Stephen J. Neptune Man says, we all know if this was 1996, Elliot would be saying all of this about gay people and how the Marxists are using gay people to destroy American society. I mean, I think he does feel that way still, to be fair. Daddy Sume says, I love and respect you, Hannah. I am a Stana. Thank you. Tucker White says, Southern Hick Hannah. You just brainwashed by Big Gay. Bah, ha. God made us in his image, even if he put the wrong digits on you. Blackwing Haggerty says, I keep getting creepy hit-ups on POF. Don't know what that is. From people
Plenty of fish.
Oh, from people who haven't read my profile. Does this mean I pass? I guess. Cool Sage says, Hannah, Baha, I struggle with this. I lost a lot of respect for my dad since 2016, steady decline, but I feel like I still love him in some way, and he constantly reiterates that he still loves my commie shit-lib self. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that one. I cut my parents out of my life. I'm happy for it.
Major problem in this world. So I'm going to invite you to just shift your paradigm for a little bit and try this experiment, right? So it sounds like you don't have any negative feelings towards your Jeremy or Jenny, right? You don't have any. You say you.
Except you do. You do.
This dude's name is Elliot. I'm gonna laugh. Fuck off, Elliot.
If you are not accepting of someone coming out to you as either gay or trans or bi or whatever it happens to be, if you're not accepting of that, then you do have ill feelings toward them. I know it doesn't feel like it to you because it doesn't feel malicious, but I assure you, it is. It is. And if you genuinely cannot deal with that for whatever reason, which is really weird, and you should see a therapist about that if you can't handle someone else coming out, but then you should just be honest about that and remove yourself from that person's life. If you can't be an actual supportive, decent human being, you don't get to be in that person's life. You shouldn't be hurting them.
The whole point of love is support and care and, like, doing all of the things that make them the most happy. Like, just fuck off with this bullshit. Like, it makes me so mad.
You love the guy as a brother, right? We've been through stuff. I know you, you know me. Things have been good. And when you love somebody like a brother, you know what, men, we often talk about how women.
Nick says, I hope the idiot who writes into Elliot gets fired publicly for being such a piece of shit. I doubt it'll be publicly, but yes, I hope he gets fired too if he follows this advice.
Women shit test each other, right? Or shit test men, right? That's one of the things. Oh, be careful. Women are going to shit test you. You know what men do to men? Shit test. Women don't shit test women because everything they do is covert. They shit test men because they want to see if you're what you say you are, right? And so before they give themselves over to you, they want to see, is this man really what he says he is? So women will shit test you. But men do the same thing to other men, right? And so you're old enough to know that if you can't handle a little jab from another guy, then you're just not going to make it.
What did you say earlier about the vaccine, by the way? Weird choice of words here.
Guys do that to each other. I have friends, my brothers, my dad, right? They jab me every once in a while. When I say jab,
Isn't it always funny, by the way, when assholes, and like just the complete fucking assholes, usually dudes, are like, if you can't take me throwing shots at you, then you're just a bitch and you're not gonna make it. Like, no, you're just an asshole. You are just an asshole. The world does not revolve around you being a piece of shit and then expecting other people to just deal with it. And if they don't, they're bitches. You are a bad person and an asshole, and other people do not like dealing with you for that reason. There's a difference between, you know, just making jokes among friends and being an absolute asshole. Like, there's a line, and Elliot is over that fucking line. Color by Emmy says, is it a shit test when you eat da poo-poo? Tucker White says, yeah, that stuff about supporting someone and accepting them as they are, provided it's not toxic traits, is great and all, but everyone knows true love is sharing someone into shaming someone into conforming to rigid social order. Meek says, women don't shit test women because everything they do is covert, so they covertly shit test you.
jab, I mean, not that jab. But, like, you know, little elbows, little jokes, right? Jokes, and just, you know, my dad might not agree with something that I'm doing, so he'll make a joke about it, but, you know, don't hate me, right? It's the same things with friends and stuff like that. I have friends. I'm thinking one friend I'm going to link up when I go to Orlando. I'm always ragging on him, right? Because he sets himself up. But we're great friends. There's no hatred. There's just, hey, man, you still doing that effeminate thing, right? And I just joke with you, right? And the cool thing is that when a man is a man and a man's with men, they can really handle it. What happens is a lot of guys can't handle it, and those are guys who have the mind of their mother.
Again, bear in mind, he is going on this diatribe about men shit-testing other men and men having to put up with it because he is still defining this trans woman as a man, and this is what he's segueing into.
But also, he is saying that the men have the mind of their mothers, but he's also saying that the mind of, like, women don't shit test. So, like, what is it? Do these guys have the mind of their mother and are shit testing you, or are they, you know, do they have the mind of their mother who can't shit test you because she's a woman?
Maps and Mimic says, every time I see a relative that at least pretends to be supportive of me being gay, making fun of trans people, I 100% know that they'd be saying it about gay people if it was 10 to 20 years ago. I think you're being generous. They probably say it behind your back. Blackwing Hecate says, wait, men who have the mindset of their mother, has he been listening to Jesse Lee Peterson? Probably.
These are effeminate men. You say something to him, you know that one guy, you ever had that one guy amongst your friends? I'm assuming that you guys are kind of like me in this. But you ever have this one guy, that one friend, who you can't say nothing to that guy because he gets emotional. He throw a hissy fit. He take his ball and go home, right? That one friend is like, yo, everybody kind of messes with each other, but you can't
Wow.
here's the
Could
thing.
you imagine not wanting to be disrespected by friends and, like, getting hurt when they do disrespect you?
Ridiculous. He must have very healthy relationships with the people he cares about. Maps and Mimic says, I hate it, but you're probably right. You know?
This just makes me so uncomfy because there are just so many things that all of this shit could be said about.
Yeah.
Like interracial marriage. Like gay people. Obviously he's talking about trans people. Like, why isn't the line, like, where's this line? Where's the arbitrary line that you guys want it to be at?
Tucker White says, Elliot, that quote friend unquote in your circle is you.
We test each other. Women test men because they want to see if he's made of what he says he's made of so that she can give herself over to him. Men test other men because we want to know hierarchy, pecking order, authority, and who you can trust, right? So this is all latent biological stuff, and it's okay, right?
It was not okay.
So with all that being said, if this is your buddy, right, and he's going through this whole thing, I would probably, if he doesn't already know, let him know, hey.
Here comes the advice that's the worst advice you could possibly give anyone about them being uncomfortable about a friend or family member coming out as trans. I
dude. I love you. Like you told me. I love you like a brother. But
That's about the worst thing you could say to someone who's just come out as... Okay, there are a lot of bad things. A lot of what he's about to say are bad things, but opening with, I love you like a brother to a trans woman, not good!
That's like when people's parents say, like, oh, my son or daughter is dead now. It's like, what the fuck is your problem?
Cool Sage says, according to Elliot's logic, you roasting him puts you at the top of the pecking order. Obviously, I am the alpha trans woman. I am the alpha sigma omega trans woman. That's a fact. Color by Emmy says, I thought men established hierarchy with a PP sword fighting tournament.
You are such a bottom, you couldn't be on the top of any hierarchy.
Alright. Blackwing Hecate with the link says, the only pecking order that matters.
You have all come to train on my lookout, but since I am quite old, I shall leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo.
Oh, Mr. Popo.
damn sure I ain't never calling you
God.
Jenny. Right? And like you could say it the way I said it right there because I'm being charismatic and joking, right?
You are a fucking charisma black hole, Elliot.
You come off as the biggest douchebag ever, and that's not charismatic, nor is it a joke. It's just being fucking transphobic. It's just being a bad person. It's not funny. It's not charismatic. It's none of those things.
It's fucking wild. Like,
this is a good way to have the last conversation you will ever have with a trans person, by the way.
yeah, like this dude, like, she's not gonna be your friend for very much longer. You won't even have the opportunity to dead name her or misgender her. You will never be friends with her ever again.
By the way, this is like the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, she like goes and kills herself. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, this shit is fucked up. If you're genuinely one of her close friends and you say this shit to her, not good.
Also, like, I kind of hope that this guy says this shit and then gets fired. Because this is a coworker.
Yep. Chrysia says, how the fuck is that joking? I don't know. I don't know what the right considers jokes. It seems like just being an asshole they think is a joke.
Like, hey, Jeremy, I know you're going to get your dick cut off and taking some hormones, buddy.
That's
You know
not
I
how it
love you,
works.
but don't expect me to call you Jenny. I might call you something else. Maybe call him Jay, right? Like, I would just call you Jay, right? Jenny, Jeremy.
No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Do you want me to call you H?
Please don't. Please do not do that.
I'm gonna call you Jay from now on. Is that cool, right? Because I gotta do me, right? You do you, I gotta do me. And if we're gonna be working together, we have to
This
have a
dude
trick.
is gonna do him right into the unemployment.
Nick says, best case scenario is this idiot gets educated. Yeah, I doubt that very much. If he's already an Elliot fan, I don't think there's much hope for that dude.
If I gotta walk around watching you in a dress and high heels and stuffed bra, right? Like, that's, people like to say that, you know, you
Elliot, trans women that decide to take hormones can grow really nice, beautiful tits. Like, very suckable, delicious tits.
All right.
shouldn't violate people or how is it, you know, encroach or infringe upon people. But that's an infringement upon you as well, right? That's an infringement upon...
No, it isn't. It is not in any way. Imagine if someone got their name changed for some other reason. Not trans-related. Let's say someone's name was previously, sure, Aaron, and they want to change their name to Bob. I don't know. And they come to work and they're like, hey, this is my new name. This is my legal name. I changed this. Please refer to me as my new name. And you went, no, that's an infringement on me. No, it's not. It's not in any way, shape, or form. If you find that to be an infringement on you, all that means is you have deep-seated issues about, like, in this particular case, trans people that you need to deal with but it's not your place to decide what other people call themselves. Nick says 30 bits for Baja, and it's a bonk emote. Cool Sage says he's going to be educated by company-mandated diversity training at this rate. Maps and Mimic says Baja, bonk, go to horny jail. Tucker White says Hannah shushing Baja like she has standards. Butternips, cough. Tucker White says fucking keyboard. S key is broken. I assume so. I know you wouldn't misgender me.
My sense of reality. That now I have to watch you walk around in high heels and a bra, and I know you're a man, right? That's offensive, right?
The best test if you're an asshole, I think, in cases like this, is if you see someone coming out as gay or trans or anything that's like a big thing like that, and you in your head think this is something that is happening to you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example, and I've talked about this before. My mom told me this happened. Like, when I had changed my name, not legally, because that was more recent, but when I was still talking to my mom, wasn't talking to my dad at that point, and she was using Hannah in front of my dad to refer to me, which, of course, is not my given name at birth, he told her at one point, like, don't do that to me. Don't use that name. Not everything is about you, motherfucker!
I mean, he literally is a motherfucker.
MH Dark Beast with 100 bits says, fuck this twat waffle, and Snipe becomes a stream boss. Thank you. Tea with Goblin says, positive trans story is a cleanse. My friend E is a trans woman who has taken very well to estrogen. She went to her GP to check up on HRT stuff and mentions that her boobs have really come in. The GP quickly flicks her eyes to the cleavage and back says, wait, those are natural? She was grinning all day. Maps and Mimic says, the right's ability to joke dead ends at misgendering and let's go Brandon. It's fucking sad.
The world is so weird where that person will be offended if I don't acknowledge their psychosis, if I don't play along with their game. Oh, you're offended. But how about me? I'm offended because I've been calling you Jeremy for the past...
Okay, then shut the fuck up. Then shut the fuck up.
Okay, it takes $0, Elliot, to just not talk to this person ever again.
Sure, if you cannot respect someone, then disengage and only talk to them, talk to her in this case, when needed for work, and you have to use her appropriate pronouns and name.
Like, just, Elliot, come with me down this path. You preach and want so much respect for yourself. You want your wife to constantly respect you. You want your kids to constantly respect you. You want to have all of the respect from everyone to ever exist. But you are so against giving anyone else even a sliver of that same respect. Do you understand how much of a douchebag that makes you? Number one, it also costs $0 to just call the lady her fucking name. It's not even that far from her name before. It even has the same letter. Like, are you fucking joking? It costs $0. It's not an offense to you. It's not warping your shitty little version of reality. You're not pretending that she's a woman, even though you used to know her before she transitioned. Like, this is just how reality is. It's just reality.
Crimsy Omega says, I'm always reminded of the scene in The Office where Andy declares himself as Drew. Nick says, report Elliot for transphobia. Tucker White says, let me translate the subtext of Elliot's rant from the last few seconds.
Why is my penis hard? Why is my penis hard?
Okay.
Last 20 years, and I gotta call you Jenny. You're encroaching upon my life. You're encroaching upon me. You're encroaching upon my sense of sanity in this fucking world.
Oh my god, can you pause this?
This is the most, like, narcissistic worldview I can possibly imagine. Where you believe everything happening in the world is something happening to you, and navigating around the complicated world we live in with billions of other people, if someone does something that you don't like, it's a slight against you personally. It is fucking insane.
Also, Ellie genuinely thinks that a friend coming to you and saying, hey, this is the real me. This is who I am, who I've always been, but I trust you enough to share this part of me with you. And he thinks that this is encroaching on him. Having a friend that trusts you is an encroachment on yourself. Like, literally, fuck off.
Blackwing Hecate says, I like that Baja is acting more bothered about the rampant transphobia than Hannah. I'm used to it.
I am her advocate, and I lie.
My point here for you is don't get angry. Don't get upset. Joke with him. Hey, Jay. Just call him fucking Jay.
Yeah, that's not a joke, and they're not gonna like that. You're gonna get your fan fired, you dumb asshole.
Hey, just call him Jay.
Like, genuinely. Like, all the morality of this aside, which it shouldn't be, because it's, you know, important, but, like, let's put that aside for a second, and just think practically speaking. How detached from reality is Elliot that he thinks this is good advice that will end well for his fan? Seriously. Does he really not understand that if this guy does this, he is genuinely risking his job and he's definitely losing that friend? Like, does he just not give a shit, or does he genuinely not know? I can't tell. Blackwing Hecate says, I knew that. I just found it funny. I like this Livewire Baja Blast cross trade.
Hey, right? I refuse to call you Jenny, and just stick by that. Not because you're angry, not because you hate him, not because you're trying to change anything. Because
it is literally all of those things, though.
Yeah.
It is literally all of those things. You're butthurt that trans people exist and are allowed to exist openly now. So just like you refusing to get vaccinated and losing your fucking job like an idiot, it's you trying to plant yourself down as the world moves on to a better place and going, no, I refuse. It's a token show of resistance against trans people existing openly. That just makes you an asshole. You're not enlightened, you're not logical, you're not principled. You are a fucking asshole.
Like, could you imagine what Elliot would do if one of his kids came up to him and called him Elliot instead of Dad?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would be such a sign of disrespect in his eyes because he wants to be called Dad, even though Elliot is his actual name, you know?
Blackwing Hecate says that's one reason that I choose a name that doesn't share an initial with my dead name.
hey, that's the way I know you. That's the way it's gonna be. And if we boys, let's just be boys.
They're not. They're not boys, though. They're not boys, Elliot. Did you not listen to literally any of the story that you are giving advice about?
We can't be boys anyway. So just make jokes. Make jokes. Joke.
I genuinely feel like I'm watching a shitty Michael Scott, where he's like, you know, just joke. Like, imagine if someone was like, I don't even know what an equivalent scenario would be. Imagine if someone went up to Elliot and air quote joked by, like, saying racial slurs or bad things about him. Would he consider that funny? Would he consider that a joke?
It's just a joke, bro.
I doubt it. You fucking
He reminds
asshole.
me of Tim Allen.
Now, Tim Allen at least has done cocaine. I think Elliot's not Tim Allen.
Yeah, but Tim Allen pretty much has the same views as this guy.
I don't know much about Tim Allen other than I've heard he's an asshole.
Oh, he's like a super right-wing.
Yeah, I know.
Jokes ease stuff if people could handle jokes. Now, if people can't handle jokes, like I was talking about before, like
That's not a joke. You're literally just trying to define insults and being transphobic and calling them jokes because you think if you call them jokes and laugh after you say a terrible thing, then it okays it. It's not. Doing uncomfortable laughter after you say a racial slur or a gay slur or a trans slur isn't a joke. That's not a joke, Elliot.
Like when you shit.
Daddy Sume says Tim Allen is a chud, like typical boomer dad chud. Yeah, he had a whole show about that.
He's a little worse than a typical boomer dad chud.
Tucker White said, I think you underestimate boomer dads. Being honest, if you think that. Tucker White says trafficked cocaine too. He was pretty high up in the Kalamazoo drug hierarchy too.
Do you think that typical boomer dads have as much reach as Tim Allen does?
No.
Okay,
But it's not about reach.
Go.
You didn't make it seem like it was about reach. You made it seem like it was about the content of his opinions.
No, it's about the fact that he is spreading those opinions all over the place.
Meek says, Tim Allen's all about being a man, but his new show, he's just a blogger. Real masculine energy there. Narnandia Owl says, if you try to make a joke out of someone's identity, chances are they won't be laughing with you. Yeah.
When men shit test other men, the guy who can't handle a joke is the guy that gets left out. You don't become friends. You don't get to hang with us because you're always whining, you're always crying, you can't handle it.
You're the one who's whining and crying in this case, though, Elliot. You understand that, right? And it's not even about a joke. It's just about someone's identity.
Yeah, this is like you met someone off the street you thought that their name was... You just looked at them and you thought that their name was like Tony. And so you just went up and was like, hey, Tony. And they're like, my name is not Tony. It's Steven. Like, my name's Steven. You're just like, no, like, your name is Tony. I know your name is Tony because that's what you look like, a Tony to me. And then they're like, no, my name is Steven. I know my name. And they're like, well, you're ruining my worldview.
Tucker White says, well, we're on the subject. I also find it funny that Elliot thinks that this guy is the one who'll be like he thinks in this story, what was the woman's name, Jenny or something like that? In this case, Elliot thinks Jenny will be the one to face consequences if she can't, quote, take a joke, when in reality, the person who wrote Elliot is the one who will be either fired or, like, just generally ostracized from society in the way that we do for, you know, racists and shit. Like, being an asshole means people don't want to deal with you. Ask my dad. He has one friend who he's known for years, and he only hangs out with him because he sells him weed. Elliot's advice is good if you want to spend every day of your life working, immediately coming home, getting super drunk and high, and never interacting with other human beings while also emotionally abusing your family. Otherwise, don't take Elliot's advice, though.
That sounded like it came from... You were speaking from experience.
Yeah.
A joke. People should be able to handle jokes. Look at what happened to...
It's not a joke. You're not joking. You're just an asshole.
Dave Chappelle. He tells jokes. That's his job.
Saying I'm Team Turf isn't a joke. It's just saying I'm an asshole.
Okay.
He tells jokes.
What does he think happened to Dave Chappelle? He got a platform to spout his transphobia and tell everyone that he's a turf? Like, he literally is on Netflix, one of the most popular streaming services. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think happened to him? He made a bunch of money?
Narnandia Owl says, AK, this chud's real life.
About all kinds of stuff, all kinds of people, no holds bars. That's what the Joker is. That's what the Joker card is all about. All bets are off. It's Joker time, right? Trickster time. I'm a Joker. But you know that there's a faction of the population that feels so entitled to your allegiance that
you feel entitled to call people whatever you want, even if it's not their fucking name.
All I can hear when he's talking is me, me, me,
Yeah.
me, 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 me.
It's so fucking wild.
fucking joke. And you know who that is? LGBT. LGBT cannot handle jokes. Anything or any.
Your idea of a joke is just saying, I think you're mentally ill and fuck you. That's not a joke. That's not a joke. Like, imagine someone putting on fucking white, robes and, like, KKK shit and going to a KKK meeting and be like, we're just joking. It's not a fucking joke. You can't just call being an asshole a joke and expect people to be like, ha ha ha.
And this is the same dude that if someone went up to him and be like, oh, dude, you look so feminine in that shirt. Like, you shouldn't wear a shirt that cut. Like, you look like a lady. He would cry for days.
Narnindia Owl says these people literally don't know what a joke is other than a smokescreen they can throw out when they get called out for their bigotry. D with Goblin says, Elliot, I have an entire library of deeply inappropriate jokes about the Catholic Church. You can take a few jokes about your religion, right? It's just a joke, bro. Blackwing Hecate says, Elliot, you know we live in a society, right? Because you're the Joker. MH Darkbeast says, Elliot Hulse, I'm the Joker. Do you want to get these emotional scars? Or do you want to got these emotional scars? I assume that's supposed to be, do you want to know how I got these emotional scars? Crimsy Omega says, does he think that it's okay to just call people whatever you want? Interesting. I shall call him Wubsy. Mike Max says, he won't be laughing if people made fun of him by using his masculinity, family, political views, and race. Yeah.
Anybody associated with sexual perversion can't handle jokes, and the Marxists created it that way by creating offenses, right?
No one was offended before Karl Marx wrote anything down. Before he wrote the Communist Manifesto, whatever. No one was ever offended by anything. Then the second, people were like, the means of production. Wait a minute.
I didn't know that we were sexually perverse as bis.
Last time felt pretty perverse.
And weaponizing the language, right? They weaponize gender now. That's a weaponized word, by the way. When I was a kid, we said sex. Now they say gender because you could weaponize gender. You can't weaponize sex.
They mean different things.
Gender and sex existed when he was a kid.
He just didn't hear about it. Maps and Mimics with 30 bits says bonk.
Right. So, well, you can weaponize sex, but the word itself. So, listen. This is a personal situation. Deal with it individually. Deal with it with that guy. I think what I said is a valid way to approach it, right?
If you want to lose your fucking job, that guy doesn't seem to care anyway, though.
You know,
He's probably not going to get vaccinated and get fired.
Yeah, like, if he doesn't get vaccinated, he's probably going to get fired anyway.
Yeah.
Then he doesn't ever have to worry about seeing his friend ever again and misgendering her.
Daddy Sume says, to be fair, I'm incredibly perverse. His head would explode if he found out my stuff, and I can 100% weaponize sex. Have you seen my OC? 2 cocks, Elliot.
Loose, be flippant, be fun. See if he can handle it, right? If he can't handle it, then let him take his balls, if he still's got them, and run. Yeah, take your balls and run, right? I have no animosity.
And she will run directly to HR, where a report will be filed, and you will probably be disciplined if not fired. Good luck. Daddy Sume says, to be fair, I'm incredibly... I just read that one, and then Daddy Sume says, I can't believe you actually read that, Hannah.
Towards you. I have no hatred towards you. Now, I see where you're going with, this is a major problem in the world. If we're going to attack problems in the world, where do we begin, right? Because there's all kinds of problems that we could be upset about. And I find myself getting irritated too. But unless we're going to do something about it, unless we're going to stand on that hill and die, then it makes no sense to even bother. It makes no sense to say anything. It makes no sense even to be upset. Right? Because the world is going to do the world's thing, and the world is under the grip, under the influence, guided by, hypnotized, and riding off the cliff with Satan.
Everything I don't like is Satan. Blackwing Hecate says, I came in on Daddy's comment about attack sexuality, and I'm reminded of abridged Alucard's takedown of Rip Van Winkle. I don't know what any of that means.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Tucker White says, wait, I thought we decided the last Antifa meeting we were at a stalemate on weaponizing sex.
And you ain't gonna beat Satan. None of us could beat Satan. Only Christ could beat Satan, right? In Jesus' name. So, don't try to fix the world. Don't be too caught up in the problems.
Remember when Jesus said, be awful to people and insult them and say the worst possible things you can to them and then just call it a joke and then it's okay? That's very Jesus-like. Narnania Owl says, Elliot, we get it. You watched Call's videos. Daddy Sume says, the Subaru needs to woo be driven to woo the end of Elliot's driveway and then just have sex in front of his house. Just give him all the debauchery. Show him true woo weapons.
To the world. If you have children, you know, you're 58 years old, maybe you have children, you got to protect your children, you got to protect your wife.
I wanted to save that for tomorrow.
My father used to say, in these four walls. Anything outside these four?
Cool Cat says, in fairness, Jesus was an ass to people and that one tree. True.
I was just seeing if it said anything about sexual perversion and Satanism.
Okay. Time out somebody else. Daddy? Sure. Both of you did it at the same time, so I'll only do the first one. See you later, Daddy Sume.
Four walls. Let the world go to shit. Let it burn itself up. But as far as me and my house, we serve the Lord. And that's, you know, that's really your most important thing, man. Let these people do whatever.
I'm so scared one of Elliot's, I believe he has 2 daughters. I'm so afraid one of them is gonna be trans or gay or bi or something.
Whatever they want to do. They're signing their souls over. They're, you know, that's fine, right? Fine. You know, I become less libertarian as I gotten older.
He has 3 daughters and a son. Okay.
And more conservative because I see the value in preserving tradition. But I still have a libertarian bent to me when I say, look, do whatever you want. Just don't force it down my fucking throat, Jeremy.
Misgendering people and dead naming them isn't a joke. You're just an asshole. Meek says he has 3... I read that one, sorry.
So anyway, I hope that helps, dude. Done.
Yo, it's your bro, Elliot.
Elliot is such a piece of shit. You know what? Fuck it. This one was bad enough. This is Hall of Shame. This is fucking bad. This is some of the worst, like, material I've ever seen in regard to, like, giving advice about any sort of trans thing ever. It's just awful. This is it now. Let's see.
Okay, so let's answer that dude's question, like, with actual good advice.
Okay, 1 sec. Let me save this. There we go. That's better. Alright, so the advice would be, your friend is now trans and has trusted you enough to come out, so you need to accept that. If you can't accept that, then that probably means you have deep-seated issues with trans people, and you probably need to investigate why that is. If you believe trans people are mentally ill, I would suggest you actually talk to literally any trans person about this, maybe your friend, although that's going to be rough considering they're obviously going to know you're disrespecting them, but you could do research online about why trans people are not mentally ill simply for being trans, etc., etc. Get over it, or know that you're an asshole and you're losing your friend. I'm not being the most pragmatic with the wording of my advice, but there it is. That guy's a fucking asshole.
My advice is stop watching Elliot. You'll be much better for it.
Good advice.